Our Highline Voices, 106.5 KQWZ LP FM. Connecting Highline and our region. Share your story. Our Highline Voices, history, cultural heritage, art, performances, contemporary, pop culture. We are very motivated to provide a vibrant community museum and authentic social gathering place. It truly takes a village to raise a museum. Despite the challenges, our daily inspiration is our eagerness to build a stronger and more connected community. This museum is from the community to the community. Our passion is for our visitors to have access to a broad spectrum of information sources and cultural perspectives. Our Highline Voices.
Hi everyone, my name is Nancy. I'm the director of the Highline Heritage Museum, and today we're excited. We have a really special guest, and I'm just excited to get to know him and get to know the organization that he's working with and knowing how he is serving our communities. Once again, this is our Highline Voices, is the name of the show, and it has just been a pleasure to work with community members and then trying to reaffirm why are we doing the work that we do. Our mission is to tell the stories of the Highline people, and it's just excited idea of being able to not only share those stories on the museum but also digitally and then in a radio format, allowing people with disabilities or people with that don't trust museums or people that have troubles coming into the museum to be able to actually being able to experience more of who we are and who is our neighbors or friends and who do we sharing the land with and being able to be together. So thank you so much. Dave, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then let us know about who you are. And then from there, we go into the work that you do in serving the community. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me today, Nancy. It's a pleasure to be here. My name's Dave Lips. I am a retired neurologist who is really new to the Highline community. My wife and I just moved here a couple of years ago when I retired from Kaiser Permanente back in the Mid-Atlantic area to be closer to my kids and my grandchildren who live in the Seattle area, and we're delighted to be here. In getting involved in the community, one of the things that I started right away, because I've been a musician all my life, is to get involved in community music ensembles. And I joined the Highline Community Symphonic Band, who I am today representing as their duly elected president as of May of this year. And I'm delighted to do that because I'm retired. I have time to spend and to focus on helping the organization. But the Highline Community Symphonic Band is certainly not new. They have been around for quite some time. This is their 52nd year in existence. And I can share that with you if you're interested. Some of that history is kind of interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, 52 years is a lot of time. And I want to see more about where exactly you're located and a little bit of the history would be wonderful just to get, I mean, it's not just me, but I'm sure a lot more people that would like to learn more about your organization. So sure.
Yeah, so the Highline Community Symphonic Band began in 1971 under the direction of a man named Wally Rance, who at that time was the band director at Tyee High School in SeaTac. And he established the band really as a means of the parents of the students in the high school to have a community organization, a community ensemble that could reproduce some of the excitement that the students were experiencing. And so that's how it began back there in 1971. And over the years, it's just the organization has grown quite a bit. It's grown in reputation in the Seattle area. It's become one of the premier wind ensembles in the Seattle area. And we have now the band currently has about 55 members, and that's on average how many there are. And this involves woodwinds, brass, and percussion predominantly. We don't have strings at the moment. Some bands do, but the Highline group does not. But we're always open to inviting new members in the community. So the organization itself involves many musicians from throughout the area and all walks of life, and quite a variety of ages as well, from students in the area high schools to retirees such as myself. We have people who are teachers in the area, music educators, people in IT. We have former airline pilots and engineers and people of all walks of life. And we all bring our experiences, not only our musical experiences, but our life experiences to this organization, which I think really makes it really enjoyable to play in and to get together as a group. And we really enjoy serving the community, which is basically the South King County Highline area, where most of our performances take place in the community. Although we do have a performance typically every year up in Ballard at the Ballard Locks, which is one of the areas that invites community ensembles. So we enjoy doing that every summer. But otherwise, we're mostly in this area. In fact, we just had our fall concert at John Knox Presbyterian Church in Normandy Park, and it was an enjoyable performance. I think it was really successful. And we look forward to some performances coming up. One in December at Wesley, Des Moines, which is a retirement village. And we performed there several times in the past as well. And then several that are coming up in the spring. So I can give you more information about that.
Yeah, well, there's two things. One is that you got one coming up in Veterans Day. I think you shared that with me. So that's the one. And then the other one is that I do hope that you can think of us as another venue to have fun and being able to collaborate in a project. I mean, I would love to either share more of your stories or share more of the context on the music element, like understanding what the difference between instruments. I'm not a musician, and so even to you might be like super basic, but for me it will be essential to even make it a more richer experience, is being able to understand the different instruments. I'm not saying that we had to go deep into the history, but more about what identifies those instruments to, who knows, it's just maybe in the parking lot and being able to do it in the summertime where we got everyone, or even in Christmas time, where we can do some Christmas music playing outside. And so I do hope that you see this space as one of those venues to have fun, not just you, but everyone. And the space is for everyone. It's not just, the museum. No, it's like I'm the only full-time staff person at the museum. So everything is from the community to the community. So going back to your one of the things that you share that I really like is how diverse your group is, all the way from ages. And what about gender? Do you see a diversity in gender there?
It is a diverse group in that regard as well. We have a saxophone section, for example, which is probably 80% women, and they're excellent performers. Other parts, other sections of the organization are diverse. We have our clarinet section has both men and women. The trumpet section is predominantly men. I don't know why. The trombone section, which is my section, is right now is all men. But I think overall, because we have with 55 players, I have to look it up, but I think we're pretty much evenly divided amongst men and women within the group. And just as we are diverse in age.
Yeah, so that is a very interesting observation on how different type of instruments is being played by the majority of one gender or the other. So that's a very interesting perspective. Yeah, it would be wonderful to see you play, you see everyone play, and just have that representation of all of us in there. And so that's great. You as a musician, you say that you play the instrument. Do you play more instruments, or it's just one?
Well, trombone is my predominant instrument. I do play some other instruments outside of the ensemble, piano and guitar on my own, but not in an ensemble. You mentioned that the Veterans Day coming up. Veterans Day this year, we were asked as an organization to provide some music for the Des Moines Memorial Drive organization, who puts on annually Veterans Day recognition at the memorial, which is at Sunnydale Elementary School. And this year, because the space that we have to actually provide that is relatively small, it would be it's not practicable for 55 people to fit in that small area. But we do have small ensembles that have formed from the Highline Band, and that's what we are presenting, the Highline Brass, which is a group of 5 brass musicians and a percussionist. We're going to be performing for that ceremony. And that's been my honor to put that group together. When I joined the organization, I had, back when I was back east, I had my own brass quintet, which I'd been managing for 22 years. And when I moved out here, I broke up the group, so they were very sad about that. But I took all my music with me, and I said, I want to reorganize here, form the group again. So the Highline Community Symphonic Band became the origin of this small brass group, which we're going to be performing, like I said. So we're independent of the big group, although we're also all of the members are within the larger organization itself. So we sometimes collaborate with them for concerts, and sometimes we perform separately. And this is one of those where we'll perform separately from them in this venue.
Good. I mean, there's 52 people, so obviously, and then there's different instruments. So obviously, organically, it will be the main big group, and then you break into the areas or segments. Do you write your own music? I know that when I met you a few days ago, you mentioned that you can play a little bit of everything. You're telling me, I can play this and this and that. I mean, not you, but like the band and the type of music.
Right.
But what would you mind just or sharing with all of us the type of music that you play, and then if you do write your own music as a group or as individuals?
Sure. Well, first of all, the Highline Community Symphonic Band predominantly plays classical music. And while some of the origins of some of the pieces may be from other genres, from jazz or from other popular sources, television, movies, Broadway, etc. That's the predominant focus is in classical music for the larger organization. For the smaller brass group, we are able to diversify a little bit more because of the small ensemble. And we have a lot of jazz. We've got blues. We've got some Zydeco. We've got some country things. So a lot of popular songs, a lot of pop music, rock and roll. And so we can go into a little bit different genres with the smaller ensemble. I am not a composer. I am just a performer. And but we have arrangements that are written for brass. For a small brass ensemble, and they come from many different sources. So it's really enjoyable to try to find these really good arrangers, and we can use them. Mm-hmm. And similarly, the larger wind ensemble literature comes from many different. Some of them are originally written for wind ensemble, as some of the ones that we just presented at our last concert, and some of them are adaptations from other types of work, from symphonic literature, as well as other sources. So anyway, it's enjoyable to play a lot of these different types of genres, and so that's one of the things that's so enjoyable about this group and the smaller ensembles as well.
I love how you use the term enjoyable. You are embracing joy. And so yeah. With that joy, what is your favorite type of music to play?
Oh, I guess I It really depends on the mood. In some cases, in certain venues, the classical is so wonderful to play, like in a church setting or in a concert hall setting. That's really the best place to play that. Whereas in the small ensemble, when we can play like at the farmers markets, I love to play jazz or pop music and things like that, just to mix it up and to appeal to a wider audience. So we can appeal to young kids. We play music from Disney movies, and we can play rock and roll to appeal to the crowd that's at the quarter deck, like we did earlier this summer, where everybody's enjoying cocktails and snacks, and we can play that kind of stuff. It's fun to reminisce from music of the 60s and 70s and things like that. So that's a little harder for the bigger ensemble to do because they're geared toward more classical literature. So, but
we've been hosting several events here at the museum, and all kinds of instruments and musicians, and it's always a joy to let the vibrations travel through the ceilings. We have acoustic ceilings, so it just vibrates the space, and I just love that feeling of being alive. And then there's I've shared in the past that music is one of those universal languages that no matter how old you are, no matter where you're from, language, all that, you feel it, you can sense that, and you can feel it and live it. I had an interview previously with another musician, and I was explaining, or I was sharing about like my hearing issues and how I was able to enjoy the music through touching and the vibrations, because for the first 8 years of my life, I did not have that opportunity to wear hearing aids. And so to me, music is about feeling. And then later understand it, like if you paying attention to the lyrics, if you pay more attention to the history, who's playing and what's the story behind the person who's playing, and then you go into the different layers. But it's just the first layer that comes into me is just feeling it. And I can see that when you use probably the word enjoyable like 3-4 times. And so it's like, yeah, he really likes this. He really likes to play and to share that with a group of people, either inside a group or the ones who are actually being able to sit down and enjoy what you guys are producing. And so that's beautiful. So you talk about the younger generation that you share is around high school. Will you be open to allow younger kids and high school students to play, maybe not the bigger group and the smaller one?
Yeah, well, it's not so much a question of the openness. It's really the level of expertise. There are some young musicians who are quite expert at their instrument, and of course, they're welcome to join the organization. It's generally the level of the Highline Community Symphonic Band is at a fairly high level. So there's a grading system of the difficulty in the pieces that are played from grade 1 to 5, and generally we play the easiest that we play is probably a grade 3 to 4, but most of our pieces are on the higher level, 4 to 5, and are quite challenging, which is good. So we tend to attract the students who are a little bit more advanced. They're almost at the pre-college level, and I think they're probably most comfortable with the difficulty of the literature that we play. So that's part of that. But certainly we're open to all musicians who want to join us, and that still stands in the community. There's a lot of people who put their instrument down for many years. They played it in high school or they played it in college and then didn't pick it up for a long time. And for many, it's kind of like getting back on a bicycle. I mean, it comes back. It's memories that are, for wind players, at least, it's in those muscles of your mouth and lips, which they have to be built back. They might have gotten soft or flabby, but they can come back. And it's just it's something that so many people have enjoyed in prior years that just say, well, I can't do that again, but you can, and you can pick it up, and it often comes back quite well. And play, as you were alluding to before, playing with others and for others, playing for people in the community is so much more that it feels much better to perform for other people, and sometimes than just performing yourself. Yeah, like I said, it's enjoyable playing and rehearsing, but to connect with an audience really makes the difference. And so it's really good to perform in a performance for others rather than just performing for ourselves. We enjoy playing as a group, but it's special when you can perform for an audience and they really connect with them, and they usually will say so at the end how much it meant to them, or it brought back memories. And this is particularly true when we perform in retirement centers. We try to play music that people really are familiar with, they may have not heard for many years. It just brings back great memories. And in some places where I have performed with my brass ensemble in memory care places where people just come to life. The people that had been kind of in their shell and remote and not connecting with others. When you play the music and when they hear that music, you start to see them moving. They're moving their feet, their face. You see it in their face. They may start singing. The people who haven't spoken for weeks and weeks will start to sing, and that's the power of music. It reaches parts of your brain that are very deeply tied to emotions. And as a neurologist, I know I can speak with some experience in that this is something that connects very deeply with people and on a deep emotional level. So I think that's one of the things that is most satisfying with musical performance, is connecting with the audience. And I think most musicians will relate to that. They'll say that's indeed the thing that's the most satisfactory to them and satisfying in terms of making that connection.
Yeah, there's let me know if this is not true. And that's probably why I'm asking this question. It might be a little bit off of what we arguing, but is that true that people who had Alzheimer's, when they listen to the music that they have personal connections to, is something in the brain that actually helps to get just walk away, no heal, but something that is an internal interaction that takes place when people who have Alzheimer's and then listen to a song that really is powerful to them. Is that true that it's really that gets you out of that Alzheimer's, even if it's just 1 second? I'm not saying, like I say, no permanent or something that heals, but for a moment, for while they're experiencing those emotions. Do you believe that's true, that it may encourage?
Yes, actually. Well, one of the things, we're taking a little diversion here, a neurology diversion, but that's okay, because it has to do with music. And so people with Alzheimer's disease tend to have difficulty with new memories, with putting down new memories. These areas of the brain that help to form new memories have deteriorated, but old memories are really hardwired. They're deep within the brain and they're the last to go. So you really can connect with people with more advanced Alzheimer's disease where their new memories are not able to be formed very easily, but old memories are still there and they're still very well established. And when you play music, or if you're performing music or they're listening to music, you can connect with them, and on a level that you cannot verbally, which is quite interesting. People who work with people with Alzheimer's on a regular basis often see this, and that's why they want to make sure that music is a part of their care and connecting with their patients or with their family members. And so it's right. Quite exciting to see that. If you've not experienced that before, if you have a loved one who has Alzheimer's or advancing dementia, is play some of their old favorite music. I mean, you'll see that on their face. You sometimes can see them responding as they're listening to it, and it's quite incredible.
Well, to me, it's fascinating. I know that we are addressing neurology instead of your organization. We'll go back to that in a second. But to me, it's absolutely intriguing and fascinating. Why? Because it is a human element. It's a human aspect, all of us. And then we do have family, friends, people that close by or that we know that they're going through that. And it's just the idea that there's another tool to connect, and it's through music. I mean, once again, it's one of those universal languages that allows us, all of us, to connect to each other. And so the idea that it's not just, oh, I like you, or oh, I'm like to hear your story, is more about in a deeper level, all the way to your own brain. And so that is fascinating. Yeah, I do have a brain tumor, and so obviously I'm trying to make sure there's no me being curious of what else your brain can do. I'm also worried about memory, and I know that as we all get older, we'll be struggling with some memory. Maybe not all of them, or not all of us, but the worry is there. That, hey, do we remember, and how active, how focused we are in what we're doing in front of us as we get older. But music, going back to that. Once again, this is one of those elements that I love music. It just cannot be one day without music. And you're right. Well, for me, where it all depends on mood. In the mornings, I'm commuting. It's all super soft and calming and everything. And then by the time I get to my office, it's all like rock and roll and wacky and crazy. And then by the time I'm already like pushing forward by 1, 2 in the afternoon, it's like, okay, I need something again to calm me down. And then when I play the music with my family, and then even here at the museums, like how do we connect people? How do we connect different community groups into one space, and then just being able to provide that space for them? I also like the idea of what you shared earlier on how you have people that stop playing, and then going back to it, what do you do? How do you do it? How do you invite people to do it again? I never connected until now when you say that there's a, in the flute or there's a muscles that you develop. I don't play instruments, so I have no concept for that. And so I paint, and I can tell you more about painting, but I don't play instruments. And so I never connected that when you play a music, you're actually developing muscles, physical muscles. It's not just intelligence to how to practice on that instrument, but it's also developing specific muscles that allows you to perform. When you're sharing that, parts of me say, what about if we do a program where we invite people that have not played an instrument for a long time, and we just let them in, and then the museum with you, and it's like, okay, can we just encourage them? Can we inspire them? Can we say, hey, you can do it? You don't have to do it in public. You can do it internally. You can do it on your own. But I would love to be part of something that inspires people to play back, inspires people to go back to something that it was close to them. And
nice idea.
Yeah, it's just parenthood and work and stress and life. Sometimes it prevents you to go back to that. But what if somebody pushes them a little bit, like, come on, do it. Just do it. It's a safe space for you to do it, and then just invite it. So if you ever had an idea that, please use the museum or any other place as a space for us to kind of encourage people and inspire people. Like, okay, this is your space. This is you. Let's motivate each other and go back to something that was so close to you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful idea. I mean, so many of us have had experiences where we learn to connect with music as children, and there's a lot of schools where there's a lot of students learning about music and connecting through these kind of ensembles, various types of classical and jazz ensembles, and then they often go into other fields and they kind of put their music to the side, and it gets rusty or dusty in their closet, and they don't bring it out. And just they say, well, they don't have time for that. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. But I think that's one of the reasons why you see in a lot of community ensembles where maybe 60% of the people who are in it are in their act 3. They're in their, they've retired. So we have a lot of retirees within the group. They have more time now, finally, to give to something that was that was a love of theirs at younger times when they had more time and more to focus on music. And now this is a new their third act, and they can really start to explore other areas. And why not go ahead and explore an area that you've already had some experience and thus redevelop those skills? Because like I said, it's a lot of those are those musical memories or skills that you have. It's just that you have to kind of wake them up again. And yeah, I would love to see that happen more in our community, is that people be encouraged to come out and bring their instrument out. And there are different levels of community ensembles. The Highline Band, as I said, has become fairly sophisticated. It plays at a very high level. But there are other community organizations as well in West Seattle, in Federal Way, and Renton. There are other organizations that invite all levels, and I think that's important for people to realize. It's not excluding. We're not excluding anyone. We're happy to have any community members who really want to explore their musical talents again. And it's so much more enriching to do it with others, and like I had said before, is to be able to present it to the community and share it with the community. So yeah, I think having more people be aware that's something that we're open to, is to inviting all levels to join.
So I'm glad that we're doing this interview. So whoever's listening, you can contact Dave or the organization to watch them, to connect with them, and then hopefully inspire you to play again. Because I think all of us have that little light and magic inside of us to be able to release it. And some people it's through music. So hopefully, if you're listening to this interview and you haven't played an instrument for a very long time, here we are. It's gonna tapping on you, like, okay, come on, get excited and get inspired by playing the music again. And then if not, at least just come and to listen to what everyone else is doing too. So I think it goes both ways.
Right. Here in the Highline area, we deliberately put the term community band into the name, because we want to invite all members of the community to participate. And just to remember, you can, if you're interested in finding out about our schedule, either performances or our rehearsals and things like that, it's Highline Community Symphonic Band.org is the website, and all of the information about rehearsals, performances, contacts, etc., is in there. And we encourage you to get in contact with us and meet up.
Absolutely. And so I'm glad that we recorded this so people can actually replay it again. If they don't have anything to write on, they can play this video and go back to it. But yes, it is something that you can find on our website and that you can reach out to them. So thank you for that, for extending the invitation to everyone who is listening. Going back to the organization on where you are already have a schedule of different projects that are you working on for the rest of this winter and the spring and summertime. But do you have any upcoming big project, like the big changes that are going to be taking place of your organization? And what I mean by that is, like maybe break them up into more groups. I know that you have your own ensemble, but maybe are you going to be possibly extending more little groups, not little groups, but more ensembles throughout the big organization? Are you do you have any other goals? Let's just say from here in 1 year, from here 5 years. As an example of that is like, for us, is that we are still pretty new as an organization. And so our growing phases have been different. Like first it was concentrating on collections, and then exhibits, and then programming, and then education, and then tourism, and then in marketing. And so it's like, we are still really young. I know that you are a really well-established organization, but it's just also we are in a time where we change, adapt, and change depending on what's in front of us. And so I was just extending a question whether or not you have something that is coming, dramatically, or if not, it's just the idea of new generations coming into the group too and bringing new ideas to where you're heading.
Yeah, well, actually, there are some new ideas that we've discussed. This year, we have our new music director, Corrine Smith, joined us, and we've had discussions about where we want the organization to go and to explore, and a couple of things that we've talked about as the board and with Corey, our music director, is that we want to connect with the community more than we have even in the last several years. One of the ways we do that is with combining with some of the area musicians, students in the high schools, and in fact, we plan on our June concert coming up on June 10th, which is going to be at the Highline High School Theater, and we're going to be combining with the Mount Rainier High School band. So we're going to be doing a concert together with them. Some of them they're going to be performing, we'll be performing, and then we're going to combine the groups together for several pieces. And we're looking forward to that. So again, it's just getting the students involved, get them excited about what's going on, not just within their school, but in the community. And it's enriching for us and for them, I think, to have those kind of ensembles where we combine our talents. And so we're looking forward to that. And I think we want to do more of that in the coming years. We also just want to connect with the community more. We look for other venues where we can perform. It can be outdoor venues in the summertime. It can be other like in farmers markets or in other festivals. We want to get out and let the community members know that we're here. We've been here for a number of years, and we want to continue to be around and be your community ensemble that helps to celebrate things. As you know, in the Burien, there's things all year long to celebrate, and different holidays and different other special events, and it would be nice to be a part of that as well. So we do want to be more involved with the community itself, as well as I said, with the young musicians in the high schools, because I think that once you engender that love of music in the young people, they want to continue it, even if they don't have time for it in their working lives. They're going to come back to it, just as I said, many of us have, as we come back to it, and really it's really enriching to us and to the community. So we look forward to that more. In terms of smaller ensembles, we haven't discussed that yet. I know that the Highline Brass is becoming more and more involved in various events in our community, and as a small ensemble, broken from the larger group, we're happy to participate in some other small venues where you can't put a 55 person band, but you can have a 6-person band that doesn't require electronics or microphones and things like that, because we're all acoustic instruments, all wind instruments. So that's kind of nice to be able to do that. So yeah, that's in our plan to continue to be involved in various community events and to connect with our community. That's what it's all about. So
yeah, when you were talking earlier about how you have your ensemble, it's like, oh, that would be so cool to have like a even a concert within a concert, like all different, a concert with all the ensembles, they don't, maybe not all of them playing together, but maybe in segments. And then my head, this is my problem, is my head is always coming up with ideas. And my issue is to keep them quiet, just like slow down, just calm down. So I'm glad to hear that you have that. And then when it comes to teenagers, I mean, I have my own teenager. She's almost 17 and going through COVID, and then going through this really mental crisis is taking place. Is really, really scary. How all the youth are facing the different issues. And so the idea of offering another shelter, even if it's just through an instrument in their own room, but it's a shelter that is away from social media, away from the contagious, depressive culture that is establishing right now. It is not depression. It is only like 1 year or 2 years now. It's been going for a while. And so the idea of working with the youth is something that I'm very passionate. And so I can see it on my own daughter. I can see it in her own friends and people around her, how they need to breathe. They need a little bit of light. They need a little bit of gain out of those dark areas and then really enjoy. And I'm glad that you're working with the youth to not only for them to cultivate that love, passion, but also to help them in the different stages into life. Like you said, me as a mom, I don't have a time to really do much, but I do look forward that once I don't have this crazy chaotic schedule to be able to do something that I really, really like. She used to play guitar. She actually was playing for, I think, 4 years when she was younger, and she stopped for many reasons. And so I really hope that she gets back to that sooner or later. We have a few more minutes. And so I would like to invite you if you want to share something that we have not discussed, an invitation, last thought based on the conversation that we're having today, or just a general introduction of your organization to the community.
Well, I could tell you about a couple of concerts that are going to be open to the community that are coming up this spring and later. I've alluded to the June concert before that in March 25th, which is a weekday evening, a Monday evening. We'll be at the Highline Theater presenting a program that's I think, let me make sure I'm giving you the right information. We have the program that we're doing at that time is called Road Trip. So it's like a circumnavigation of the circumnavigation of the United States. So there'll be a lot of music that's based on different parts of the country. And so that'll be kind of a fun program to do. And then in June, on June 10th, that's the one that we're doing in combination with the Mount Rainier High School students, the combination concert at the same venue at the Highline Theater, will be a program that's called Game On. So it's going to be highlighting some of the sports organizations in the Seattle area. And I think that's another one that could be kind of fun as well. So taking that as a theme, I think most of our concerts we tend to have a theme. This is both for the Highline community band and for many of the ones that the Highline Brass do too. We try to focus on a theme, and all the musical pieces have to do with that specific subject. So it's kind of fun to do that.
It's a funny coincidence. We are going to be opening a new exhibit on sports. But that is going to be at the SeaTac City Hall. It's not in the museum, but it's on the SeaTac City Hall outside of the court. In the courtroom, they have display cases that we use. And it is going to be a mix of all kinds of sports. And so maybe we can do a fun program related to, connecting the exhibit with the some of the pieces that you're already performing that day. So you were saying that that's in the spring, right?
That'll be in June. In June. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no.
Yeah, we'll certainly look into that. See if we can collaborate.
Yeah, and then we're gonna be we'll be doing some sports programs, and I think that would be kind of fun to combine different ways of expressing those stories. So thank you so much for allowing us to do this interview. We appreciate that opportunity to get a glimpse more about who you are, and then also, like in my case, can get to know more about the organization and the potentially how we can collaborate, and then and so the community can stay tuned into what's happening on your website and our website. But in the meantime, please, everyone, once again, this is a wonderful group. I do hope that you get to check out their website and see what's coming up, and just celebrate each other's, and just, like you say, have an enjoyable experience. I like that that share of joy. So thank you so much for doing that, and we'll be seeing you soon. So,
yeah, thank you for inviting me today, Nancy. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you, everyone. Okay, bye-bye.
Our Highline Voices, 106.5 KQWZ LP FM.
We envision ourselves sitting at a round table where no one is the leader and stories are heard respectfully, regardless of gender, age, sexual orientation, disabilities, or ethnicity. We want to embrace our differences and similarities. We are creating a place where visitors can connect with the stories and each other. Our mission is We collect, preserve, and tell the stories of the Highline region and its people. We want to extend our mission outside the walls of the museum. Our Highline Voices represents us all, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and uniting to cultivate our future. This project allows us to reach out to demographics who might be unable to visit the museum. People with disabilities, low-income families, people who don't trust museums, and more. In partnership, we are launching a locally programmed new radio station at the museum, featuring recorded and live Highline's heritage, history, culture, arts, and more. Are you interested in sharing your story? Email director@highlinemuseum.org.